Okay, welcome to Inside the Arena. Today, I'm joined by my brother Arsan, who genuinely agreed to help and be my first guest for my first episode. So, Arsan means a lot, and thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Osman. I'm honored to be here. I know you've been talking about this for a long time now. So to finally see it happen and you have this platform so you can share all your journey that you've been also sharing with me, it's amazing to see. So I'm excited for this and I'm excited for you.
Yeah, I appreciate it, brother. And I feel like the best place for me to start is maybe tell a little story of how you and I met. Last
Perfect.
year, I posted an article on LinkedIn about my French journey, how I had to learn a language from zero in 6 months to stay in Canada. And Arsan reached out. We met in person, and I feel like from the very first day it clicked. And since then, we have been very, very good friends. And I feel like what connected Arsan and I is our shared love for fitness, self improvement. His family is in shipping business as well, and I work for one of the largest shipping companies in the world. And the most important thing, we both support the same team, Liverpool, which I feel helped gel everything together.
Exactly. Yeah. I think yeah, that it's all of those things are important, but for me on my side it was to see someone that had a similar journey, and as you said, like our background matched so much. It was really it's always a nice feeling to see people that are moving on same journey as you, and you can learn from them, or you can share your listens to them. It's always good to have those people in your life. And yeah, I was so grateful last year when we met through that common topic, but then we realized, oh, we have so much more in common. It's just not the French or not the immigration part.
Yeah, honestly, like
Yeah.
our meeting back in 2025, what it made me realize is how just social media and platforms, how they enable people to get to know each other and get closer. Even like 20 or 30 years ago, that wasn't possible. I know technology nowadays gets a lot of criticism, but it can also connect, which was awesome for the both of us.
Yeah. Especially LinkedIn. Yeah. LinkedIn, didn't think of it much as a platform to like meet people. But then, yeah, last year when I was like, I was like, let me try this out. Osman sounds like a nice guy. And I also saw some of your posts from before, so I think that kind of helped it a little bit to put guards down and things like that. And yeah, I think I'm actually like after that through LinkedIn, I made so many connections because I realized, oh, okay, like there's a lot of people that I can learn from, or we're like closer than we think. But once you like go through their LinkedIn profile and you see like, oh, how close you are to them, I think it's a nice platform.
Yeah, 100%. But maybe to shift the
Yeah,
focus a little bit, Arsen,
sure.
why I thought you would be a good person for this podcast. I feel you're a great example of an individual who lives inside the arena and tries hard things. Um, Through our like conversations, you told me about your time in China, how you moved to Canada, your fitness journey, and now how you're trying like to figure out what to do next, your career. And I'm really excited for people to get to know about your story as well. And maybe like the best place to start is how you moved to China in the first place, because I'm pretty sure that was quite a transition for you as a teenager. So
Yeah.
maybe do you want to share a little bit about your move to China and how you felt at the time?
Yeah, of course. I mean, back in 2007, I was actually watching a reel on Instagram just now, and this is perfect because I remember we were actually in South Korea in 2007, and we were there because of my dad's job. They had some projects in Hyundai shipyard, and we were watching the Olympics opening. Sorry, the Olympics. Yeah, it was Olympics opening. So it was like 2007, 2008, and we were watching it, and my dad was just looking at me, and I was looking at him, and he's like, "Yeah, I think this is where we're gonna go next." And I asked him like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "Yeah, I got some offers, but I thought we would stay in Korea. But now looking at all these videos from China and all the things I'm reading about China in the future and how they're setting up themselves to be the next big hub in shipping and shipyards. Um, that's our move." And me, I used to be really like into and excited about like shipyard. I was always going to shipyards with my dad, interacting with people, looking like going through everything. So just that idea like made me so excited. And I remember like the next year, my dad just literally accepted an offer, and we moved to China. And it was a crazy, crazy move because similar to like I feel like everyone like my first thought, even though lived in Korea already, was like, oh, is China is gonna be like this like old place? It's gonna be everyone's traditional, everything is slow. Because back then, like Korea was it, like in East Asia, Korea and Japan. So moving there, like my first, I remember the first memory, I was really shocked to see like all these like international community there. It's so modern. It's huge. Everything is big, and that was yeah, that was literally the first memory I remember. And um, I'm actually really happy that we got to experience that because I feel like from 2009 to 2017, where I lived in China, like that was a period where China like boosted through like the economy, like they focused on so many industries. Like I literally witnessed like the shipping industry going from one big shipyard competing with Busan's shipyard in Korea to then like 2017, like talking to my dad, and it's like, oh, there's like 10, 15 shipyards here now. Like that one that used to be in Shanghai, it's not even the big one anymore. So I really take, I really like, I'm really glad that I got to see that. And I realized that once I got out of China, um, that oh, I was living through like basically like the Great Gatsby like
Mm.
era of China, where everyone was just uh getting, the economy was boosting, everyone's standard of living was getting better, and you could see that every day. So it was nice.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Maybe
Yeah, of
Arsan,
course.
what I would love to learn and would be interesting for our viewers as well is when you moved from Korea to China, did you feel like you belonged to China? And did your experience in Korea help you adapt to your life in China as well?
Personally, I think because we were moving a lot from like, because before China, like we lived in Korea for a couple years in Dubai. And I even told you like my dad took me to his to the ship. Like we lived with him for I think 2 trips, and together it was almost 1 year and 10 months. So like
Wow.
we were always moving. So for me, like feeling belonging to somewhere, I never had that feeling, honestly. And I think as a kid, I was always looking for that one place. Like every year I was going to a new school. Every year it was a new people. Like even on the ship, like people go through trips. So like you become friends with this chief engineer. Then 3 months later, he's the next one, and then like the cook is changing. Everyone's changing. So I was I never, I honestly, I was always looking for that. So when we were in China, I wasn't thinking of like, oh, I need to belong to here.
Mm,
Because I was like, this is maybe another journey. But honestly, the city itself, Shanghai, um, it was the first city that we stayed long. So that's why, like, to this day, when people ask me like, where are you from? I'm like, I'm originally Persian, but like technically, like I say I'm from Shanghai because Shanghai was the first place that I stayed long term, made friends, and I honestly, and I felt, yes, after few years, I felt that I belonged there, and I think that's a topic, that's a common topic that everyone's talked about. Is it like, are you from where you're born, or are you like, is your character from like all the experiences you get? And I think in international schools, that's one big common theme that people like touch on and go through like every year, every day, that you're always experimenting, like, and you always see people and you get to that level where you understand, you're like, oh, now I see, like, because you see like Egyptian guy who's born in like Kenya and now he's in Shanghai, or like uh, a Chinese girl who's born here in China but like raised in Canada, how they're different from like other people, how they're different from Canadians, how they're different from Chinese. So I through those experiences I realized that feeling like home is where you choose to call it home. It's nothing that other people tell you. It's not like something you're born with. I think home is something like somewhere that you feel you belong there. And honestly, I feel like after living in a couple places, I think home is everywhere for everyone. It's just like you have to like accept it, and you have to uh, nourish it and cherish it to to have that effect.
yeah,
So yeah,
very well
I
said.
can say, yeah, China after a while, like it was hard, but after a while I definitely felt I belonged there.
Nice. Yeah. And I
Yeah.
would be curious to know, Arsan. So you've lived in Korea, you lived in China, you lived in other countries as well. And then you moved to Canada for
Yeah.
your education, for university. Do you think
Yes.
your prior experience moving in other countries help you adapt to life in Canada, or has it been like a completely different experience as well that required you to learn something new?
I think if you think about it through like immigration lens, immigration, yeah, like moving other places, maybe like communication skill, like communication wise, like language skills or like people skills, it helps you a lot. Like, of course, like growing up in an international school, like you learn to like, I feel like you learn to live anywhere. That kind of gets you ready
100%.
to like live anywhere you want. So I think in that aspect, uh, yeah, of course, it helped me a lot. Um, and I saw the effects, and it was an interesting place to move because Vancouver has a big uh, group of Chinese immigrants here, and then we have big groups of Persians, and it was like my both worlds are like colliding
Collided.
in
Yeah.
one city. So yeah, that aspect, like I can say it helps, but I think Canada, same as any country you go to, it has its own challenges. And it doesn't matter like how prepared you are from your previous experiences or your previous places that you lived in. You got to accept that Canada it's not a perfect place, and it has its own challenges. And I think like cultural shocks or something I dealt with which I was shocked too. I thought that would be something I'm not gonna deal with too much. But honestly, Canada is such a diverse place. It's in its own means, in its own like definition, that I don't think like anywhere can prepare you to
For
but
sure.
to live here. So yeah, I think it depends. Like, yeah, it depends. I think like Canada has its own challenges that people just go through.
Yeah, Arson, I potentially some international students would be watching us, or
Yeah,
some people who would want to go and study abroad as well. And you coming to Canada, correct me if I'm wrong, was the first time you were living on your own, like
yeah.
outside from your family. So, in your opinion, what are some things that people don't expect or don't understand about being an international student, and something people should know about that experience?
With internet, like coming here as university student, I mean, I'm going through that right now because my sister is trying to decide where she needs to go for university. And I think the first thing I told her was like the seasonal kind of the seasonal depression they talk about here,
Yeah,
which it's interesting because I don't know. I wanted to get your opinion on this as well because this time when I was in China, I realized like Shanghai has a similar weather to Vancouver. It's like raining 4 or 5 days, and then it's like sunny for a couple hours, and it's raining again. And I was telling myself like, why no one is talking about the weather here? Like no one's, it's not even in their mind like to talk about if it's raining today or if it's sunny today. And I started to like, I'm still thinking about it. I don't know like what is it with here like that the weather is such a big factor for a lot of people.
100%.
So
Yeah.
that's
Even for us in
what do you think?
Vancouver, like whenever sun comes out, you see right away the difference on your mood, how it
Yeah,
improves, and it has a big impact on it. So yeah, for sure, like someone who is considering Vancouver as a potential destination should know that it rains at least like 5 6 months of the year nonstop. So yeah, something to keep in mind.
exactly. Yeah. And I think, yeah, and then for like these are like things that to just think of ahead, like career wise, if you wanna do something, you have to like prepare for it more, I think, compared to like if you want to go to the UK or if you want to go maybe some East Asian countries. And I'm not saying like, oh, like here is hard and everywhere else is easier. It's just like I realize like for so many careers, there's a long path even if you don't like because other countries it's like if you go to medical school or if you go to law school that's like a little bit longer path, but here I realize a lot of careers if you want to get into them there's a long path, and I think it's good for you to look ahead
100%.
and prepare for it because I know like the money it's going to be like we're all paying a lot of money, so we want to be efficient as much as we can. Like for example in my case I remember I was looking at finance and accounting, and I made sure, like, okay, I have few options in universities that I can go directly finance and accounting from bachelor. And at that time, I was looking at CPA and CFA, and I was like, okay, I need to make sure CPA and CFA in case I don't know which one I want to do. Um, except as like they have kind of like agreement with those university where they easily accept the credits. And just I remember from first semester I planned for all the courses. I took every course in a way where it's the ones that CPA and CFA accepted them.
Yeah,
And it was also going with my curriculum. So I think that helped a lot. That helped me financially a lot. I finished in 3.5 years, and right away, like I didn't need to do any extra school to get accepted to CFE and CPA. And I think like planning ahead for a lot of kids, like, and I get it. Like, I tell this to my sister as well. Like, another benefit of Canada, coming to Canada as a student, is like, if you go to the UK or if you go to the other countries, maybe like they would put you directly in your career from first day, which is good in its way. But at the same time, I appreciate Canada's system where it's like you can kind of look at bachelor as like testing the waters, but as a way where you like get your GPAs high, like um, go to as much as do as much as you can, like activity wise, like make connections. If you focus on those aspects and then kind of education wise give yourself a little bit freedom, because you say like, okay, I have to always do a master or postgraduate certificate or degree, either it's engineering or MBA or CPA, CFA, medical school. So like, and that's what I tell my sister like now is like, don't put so much pressure on yourself for bachelor, like where should I go, what should I do, but just be prepared. So kind of accept the flexibility. Don't take it as like, oh, why Canada is so general, like they don't want me to do my degree from bachelor, I have to do all this, spend this money, they want my money. Don't look at it that way, because that's such an it's not a it's a sure, there's some truth to it, but that's not a positive way to look at it, and I feel like it's not fair to the system, because the system
Yeah.
is, I appreciate the system because it gives you
Yeah.
that little bit freedom.
It's a very good
So
point. I like once you started talking about it, I realized that it is the case because right now in my company, one of my coworkers, he did a degree in philosophy from UBC, but then decided that he doesn't want to do any work associated with it. He went, got his CFA, got some finance courses from UBC as well. And now he works in corporate finance for a shipping company. So, in that sense, I feel Canada is very open and generous and helps
flexible.
you like transition and try out and experiment and see what you like. So, in that sense, it's really, really good. But Arsan, one thing I wanted
Yes.
to ask you is one thing I realized by talking to other fellow international students is that the first couple of years when you are alone, when you're away from your family, are especially challenging. And then a lot of people say that they were overwhelmed or there were thoughts that they would want to go back home or they can't do it anymore. So, is there any story or maybe any um, time in your experience with Canada when you felt like that as well?
Honestly, during COVID, I experienced that a lot. One thing one plan I made sure like that helped me a lot through university was like going visiting family once a year. I feel like looking back at university, a lot of students, and I know like it's like financially wise, there's a lot of factors and stuff, but like a lot of I feel like if a lot of my international student friends in Canada at least took a trip to like Toronto, Ottawa, like other cities, Mexico's,
Yeah,
like just taking a trip, I think that helps a lot. And with immigration, and maybe this is like something I experienced from a childhood, like from a child, like I think it's think being sick and being homesick and feeling like, oh, where's my family? What is this? That's a normal thought to have. And it's part of immigration's life. Like if you want to be an immigrant, that's part of the life. And I think those thoughts come to you once in a while. But and I know it's such a straight way to say it, but maybe it's just because I experienced it from when I was a kid, so I didn't try to like solve it in my head. But for me, it's just like those feelings come and go. So you have to focus on your goal. You have to ask yourself, why are you here? And maybe you ask yourself, why I have so many, like I had so many friends from Shanghai, they asked themselves, like, why am I here? What am I doing? And they got to a conclusion where like, okay, I need to go back home after university. And that's okay too. But I think you have to always remind yourself why you're here, why you're doing this. And those things are more important than thoughts, because immigration, you got to be disciplined. A lot
for
of
sure.
things come to your head, but you got to be a disciplined individual to go through it. So my biggest tip is that just ask yourself why you're here.
Yeah. And I know, Arsan, that fitness plays a big part of your life. Would you say exercise and working out helped you um, get better and transition to your life in Canada and feel more comfortable? Was fitness an important
I
part of
think,
your
yeah,
life at that time?
fitness was a byproduct of moving into Canada for me, because I think when a lot of people, once they come to Canada, and it's a good byproduct. I think, like, you see a lot of people are into fitness, they care about their health a lot, um, and I, it helped me a lot. Like, before coming to Canada, I wasn't really into like individual fitness. I was playing American football, basketball here and there, football here and there, but never like something individual, like for myself. And yeah, when I came to Canada, that was the first thing that I got introduced to. And honestly, like, with discipline wise, like, it helped me a lot. I remember before that, I was a good student, but I was never like fully disciplined. But I think, like, once I went through that uh, a season of like working out, getting my nutrition down, and just and that time I was really into like bodybuilding and uh yeah, bodybuilding mainly. That the discipline it shows you and the results you get, I think it's a perfect gateway, like a perfect place to like start uh like placing those discipline methods in your life.
Yeah,
Because I think once when you go to the gym, a good thing about gym is that once you're disciplined, you see results fast, and you can see how like things you change or things you don't follow, it kind of hurts the process, or like things you do, how it helps the process. And I think that feedback you get, that instant feedback you get, you every day you go to the mirror, every day the feelings of the food you eat, the feedback you get, it helps you to build up that disciplined mindset, because you see it work. Like, maybe some people through school, through like other activities when they were kids, they didn't see that quick um, result. So that it didn't really help them, or it really didn't push them to like build that discipline in other parts of their life. But I think working out, I always I always advise my friends, like, give it a try. Like, I'm not saying like going to the gym or being disciplined like this, it's for everyone. Everyone, like, people find their joy and discipline through different activities. But I think like gym, it's a almost like a cheat tool. It's like cheating almost, where it's
100%.
like
Yeah,
you give it a try for a year at least, and then and if you're really locked in and you see the results, 100% will, like, guarantee it will push you to like take those, and you're like, oh, I can do this in my school. Like, I remember oh, I can do this in my school. Like, I just need to like do the reps, like do those things, and then I'll be good. Like, it kind of helped me like be like trust the process way more, and then not think about the result. Because once you like go learn how to like build processes for yourself, like, oh, in the gym I did these reps, or I used like drop sets, or I use supersets to do this, maybe I can use this in my school now or in my work now. And then once you like do this and you kind of get addicted to your work process and your school process, how can I make it better? Like, um you just get addicted to the process, and you even forget about the result. And that kind of, I feel like that's healthy to have that mindset as well, because always thinking about like the end point, it's not healthy. And I
100%.
personally, like, I don't become productive when I have that mindset. um so yeah, gym for me helped me like learn about the process. Like, there's a process that you need to do, and you have to trust the process. And then you learn tricks and ways to edit them, and then you just get addicted to it. So I think that's the best, one of the it's a cheat tool, honestly, for people's lives, I think.
Would you say fitness at the time became part of your identity and something you associated yourself with?
Yeah, of course, because it's something I was proud of. I remember like that time, like, I was coming from like I was playing American football, so um I was a heavy guy, like I was a big guy. But I never knew how to like change that. And I always heard
Mm,
people that, oh, you can do this, you can get this body, or you can be an athlete, you can be that. But I never uh, saw blueprint. And I always say this, maybe it's just because I lived in China. Like once I came here, seeing all these Middle Eastern guys like in their 30s, 40s, they're jacked and all that. I'm like, oh, I can be this too. I can do this too. So once I went through that process and I saw that I can stick to it, I can stick to the diet, I can stick to the workout. It gives you a confidence like nothing else. Like honestly, like the confidence you get from that, uh, it's even bigger than I say like school or work, because it's something you did it on yourself and there's no cheating. And uh, yeah, it's something to be proud of.
Yeah. And
Definitely.
Arson, one other thing I wanted to touch on is you did mention that fitness was part of your identity and something you were very proud of, and that something that you did on a daily basis. And then you and I, through our private conversations, you shared that you had a very serious injury after your car accident. And that part of
Yeah.
your life, something you did on a daily basis, wasn't possible anymore. So I want to talk a little bit about that period of your life
Yeah.
when part of your identity is no longer there. How did you adapt? How did you feel about it? And what was going on through your mind at the time?
Honestly, it was thinking about it. There's it's still something that I'm going through. But honestly, like in the beginning, like and that's one reason I say like this time, like now that I'm healed, I'm going back to working out. I'm trying like different. I'm not just going to the gym anymore. I'm trying to like have different hobbies, like activities, where like it's almost like you're scared. Where it's like, what if something happened, like again, and then I lose this again, and I don't want to go through that because I remember like after I got injured, it was like a dark 6 month because for me, like once I started to work out, it became a tool where it's almost like I was meditating. I would go to the gym 2 3 hours, and it was just like for me it was meditation. I would go to work out like couple hours before my exams, and I was always someone that got stressed out and during exam, even though like I was always prepared, but like somehow that exam stress was getting to me, and I realized like, oh, going to the gym like helps me a lot with that. So it wasn't just about the discipline, it's about getting fit. For me, it became just a meditation aspect of my life. And that's why I always tell people like you have to try things, because for me it was gym became also the meditation part. So losing that, it was almost like losing my peace as well, because I remember like instantly like it had an effect on my work output and my studying output. It just became lower, lower, and like I realized it too. People around me realized it too. So losing that, like honestly, was a was a dark thing. But then it kind of reminded me of my other injury that I had, which was a little bit minor, and but it kind of reminded me of what is the definition of injury, and what is it, a failure? What is this? And I remember like when I before that I got a shoulder injury, and I always had like weak shoulders somehow. Like I don't know why, but I always had weak shoulders. So like every time I would try higher like rep for my shoulder presses or like heavier, it would just hurt. And then one day it just got hurt. And I had a mindset where it's like you get bigger, you get better by your failures. So let me fix this failure. So I remember like I started to go learn about like shoulder injuries. I started to learn about shoulder presses, all the various of shoulder exercises. I started to even talk to people. And one day I was like, let me talk to these tall bodybuilders. They're like me. Let me like maybe they have some experience. And I remember one of the guys like told me, he's like, oh, you have a long, like you have like long hands. Like, why are you doing barbell? You should do like, you should focus on dumbbells because your range of motion is different from an average person. So it's always like putting too much pressure on your joints. Why don't you do like dumbbell so you can like control your variation? And that was like literally the first hint that I was like, okay, so this is like, I need to learn more about this. And I start to learn about different exercises. I start to learn about rehab exercises, warming up. And that's from there, like I start to warm up, and that always stick by it now. And warm up my shoulders and just all the other aspects. And it was a 4 months process, but I remember I came out stronger after that, like to a point where my shoulders are now my biggest parts, and they're the strongest part, I would say. And I remember, and one other thing that I remember was putting the ego down. Like I started literally, like, even though I was like embarrassed, I was like 18, I was like getting these like 5-pound dumbbells and like doing exercise, a big guy like doing those exercises. But I told myself, like, put the ego down, let's start from slow, do all these warm up, like learn about these exercises, learn about your body. And I came out of that stronger. So after like 5-6 months where I had hard time, and I was like, let me put that kind of mindset with this as well. Maybe there's a reason uh, I got injured. Maybe like instead of making this story like a failure story, let me let me come out of it stronger. So I started to learn about, I started to go to different physiotherapists. Like I remember I visited like around 5 or 6 people. And through that, I start to learn, and same as the last one, I start to learn about my body. I start to learn about my back. Oh, if my hands are here, there's more pressure on it. Or if I stand like this, it's not good for me. So I started to learn about my body, my behaviors, try to change that. And once you start to focus on problem solving, almost like 80% of the pain was gone. I wouldn't even feel it anymore because I realized I was so focused on finding a result. And finally, like, because I feel like if you sit down and you just think about like, oh, I got injured and it was, oh, am I not going to exercise anymore? Did I fail? I feel like the pain gets harder, and since there's no light on the other side, the pain even gets worse because it's mostly the pain here, not in your back. And I think just having the problem solving mindset just fixed 80% of the problem. Where after that, I started to like slowly, I went to the gym once a week, twice a week. Again, like light exercise, really light, with bands, like 3 months with bands. And then now when I'm going back again, like to heavy sets. And it's interesting because now I have a crazy mind muscle connection with all my body parts in my back, with my lats, with my real delts, um, with my middle back. So that's why, like, I'm really happy now, because before my back was my weakest part, and I wouldn't even feel it. I remember I would just do exercises. It was getting bigger, but it was getting stronger, but not like my shoulders, my chest, or my other parts. So now coming back at it slowly, I'm starting to realize, oh, okay, I have better mind muscle connection. I have better balance. It doesn't hurt anymore. Now I know like how to sit better, how to like treat my body better, where to sit, where to not sit. So I love it. I think it's almost like life, like gym, like that, and that's why I love gym, because you can literally translate everything to real life. And it's literally a lesson where it's like you think it's a failure, but it's a blessing at the same time. And it's your decision to make that, to let that be a failure, or and you call it a failure. So many people might say just it's an injury, but you can be the person to call it injury or failure, or you can be the person to decide to say, okay, it was a success story. Oh, like, and then next time someone asks you about your back, or you're like, oh, how can you feel it? How can you do this? You're like, oh, it's not easy. Like, you have to go through something, and that itself, it's something to have to be proud of. And you're like, oh, no one can achieve it like this. Like, you have to go through it to have this kind of uh, connection with your body, or know your body this well. So I think, yeah, that
Yeah.
it's always getting injured could be a bad thing, but it's your decision.
Yeah. Thank you for
Yeah,
sharing. First of all, sorry that you had to go through this, but
yeah,
also
thank you.
from what you shared is you turned an obstacle and challenge into something that made you stronger. And I feel that's a very important insight to have, not just for fitness, but for all areas of your life, because all of us are going through difficult periods on a daily basis. And staying
Exactly,
positive and seeing that end light at the end of the tunnel is very important. But maybe if you could
exactly.
summarize it and kind of share your mindset with people who are going through difficult periods, what would you say? Like for someone who has to reinvent themselves and start again, how would you tell them to approach this?
I think there's a lot of things to say about this topic, and I feel like there's a lot of content on the internet where people can go, and someone, a more qualified person can share those points. But almost go and become a kid again.
Hmm.
Remember yourself when you were a kid. What you enjoyed, what were you dreaming about, what made you feel better. I remember, like, for me it was photography. Like, I went and grabbed my camera again, and it was something I always enjoyed. It was something I always liked for myself. Like, it's just it's like the activity that I love. It kind of activates my creative part of my brain. So, and I started to, like, I even, like, went, like, did little paintings, like, did American football, like, just like my, like, literally became a kid again. And once you go through that mindset, you kind of let yourself be a little bit at ease. And the question why you're doing this, why all this obstacles that you went through, why you're doing this, those automatically will come to your mind when when you become like a kid again. And then it will ease things out. Because I feel like once when you're in that situation, you're always trying to, like, reset. Like, what should I fix? What should I do? Like, you're trying to fix things quickly, but you don't understand that you're trying to change a big part of your life. You're trying to change your identity. It's not that easy. Like, and it doesn't have to be like that stressful. It is stressful, but it doesn't need to be like that. So for me, like, the tip is, like, do something you love. Go back to things you love, things that made you happy. I remember, like, I even asked my dad, like, and I'm blessed to have this opportunity to ask my dad and have asked my mom, where I was like, can mom come visit me, like, for a month? And it was just me and my mom. Like, literally, like, we were going around. It's almost like I was a kid again, like, with my mom, like, going around shopping and watching movies with her. I remember, like, we were just watching TV shows at home, and we were just, like, talking about family, talking about uh, friends. And yeah, I just did those to, like, kind of ease myself, put myself in a base level again, and then just build up. And once you're doing something you love, and you're with people that you love, your mind is at peace. And when your mind is at peace, you can make good decisions. And you need to have your mind in peace to make, especially then, you need to make good decisions. So create that environment for yourself, surround yourself with people you love, do what you love like a kid, literally, and then you will be in a good mindset where you can make the decision, say, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this, I think I can do this, I don't need to do this. And then it will help you to create a better road for yourself and then follow that.
Wow. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing. That has been very inspiring, honestly. It
Oh,
made
thank you.
me think
Thank you.
about some periods of my life when I could have applied that insight and try to do things I love that would have made that challenge so much easier. So yeah, that was very very helpful. Thank you, Arson.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course.
And
Yeah.
one of the last questions I wanted to ask you, Arsan, is the podcast name is Inside the Arena. And
Yeah.
I wanted to kind of ask you to share an experience in your own life when you felt like you are inside the arena trying to achieve something. And to give you an example, right, for me, how I even came up with the name of this podcast and channel is when I
Yeah.
was inside the classroom trying to take my French exam. I was stressed, I was jittery, and I was like thinking about all these future scenarios, what would happen if I wouldn't pass an exam. But I kind of like calmed myself down and told myself that's how um, top performers feel on a daily basis when they do challenging things. We are both football fans. Like how,
Yeah.
let's say, Mo Salah would feel ahead of the Champions League final. And that kind of helped myself calm down and tell myself that's how people inside the arena feel doing hard things. So maybe there is a story from your life where you felt something similar when you felt like you are in the arena.
Um, Honestly, the first thing that came in my came in my mind, the hardest part was for me, like, uh, I feel like it was immigrating to here, because I remember when I was I was in China, I was turning 18 and I couldn't stay there anymore. Literally, like after my graduation, I had to leave, and then um, I had an offer from U.S. I was applying for U.S. universities, and when with the Trump coming and all this political stuff, I couldn't go to the U.S. anymore. And um, I remember it was a point in my life where it was 2-3 weeks where I almost felt like I'm going back to Iran, which wasn't a good option. And so I was just, I felt stuck. I felt like all this, I'm 18, never lived there. I only lived there when I was a kid. And what's happening to me? Like everything is like, I'm getting rejected from here. I can't get a visa here. I'm like applying for like 6 different visas. And I remember even that year, like, I had to take a SAT test and I couldn't go anymore because of the political reasons and stuff. I had to go to Hong Kong and I couldn't get a visa. So it just almost felt like the world is coming against me to stop me. And it was scary because I seen a lot of kids in international school, like especially like Middle Eastern background or Iranian background, like suddenly like, oh, they get a weird life because they can't really stay anywhere. All these universities are not letting them come in because of political reasons. So uh, I remember I was just stuck. But that 2-3 weeks where I had to put a lot of efforts with, um, I was writing letters to the embassy, Canadian embassy, trying to grab all the documents, trying to like push this through, find a university quickly, like get acceptance letter, all that. Like that 2-3 weeks was hell. But again, I realized this is part of the immigration life, and I accepted this when and I didn't really accept this. I was born to it, but I just need to get this done and finish it off. And honestly, like that 2-3 weeks of not knowing where I'm going, and maybe I'm going back Iran, but then I have to serve in military and all that. It was the scariest thing, but I think I kept my calm down. I started to like I I found this really good lawyer that like helped us quickly get that done, and I quickly got my high school degree, got my tickets, and then suddenly left. I didn't need to go back home. Well, honestly, like maybe explaining it is a little bit easy, but being in that situation was really hard. I remember it was really even harder for my parents. And to this day, like my dad talks about it, where it's like almost like he's like, I knew you were good to live alone once I realized you dealt with that with no pressure. Like we were stressed out, but you were calm. But I know you were stressed out inside, but you were just calm, fixing a problem, finding a good lawyer, like communicating with the embassy and getting your things fixed and flying back to Canada to start your life. So I think that was one of the scariest parts where I was like, I had to lock in and get it done. Otherwise, I wouldn't know. Like, I my life could have been somewhere else. I could have been back in Iran, or I could have been in China or something. So I'm happy that I did it actually.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you for sharing. And I feel that's the whole idea behind people who are trying to achieve things, who want to do something with their lives. There will be challenges, there will be obstacles, and it's
Yeah.
just realizing that's just inevitable. It's part of your life. It's will help you come down, as you said, and be like more pragmatic about it, and be more like problem solving, and would help you get to where you're going.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I think those kind of challenges help you to like also like look at, and I'm sure you said this as well with the French exams. Like after that, you're doing school and you're doing work, and you're like, "Pff, this is easy. Like
Hundred
I
percent.
can just at
Yeah,
least there's a solution. I can get to it." But like
100%.
there's some stuff that life throws you, and you're like, I don't even know where the other end is. Like, how am I gonna like? So just learning how to approach those, as you said, like gives you a crazy confidence.
100%. Arsan,
Yeah.
almost coming to the end of our podcast, and I'm just
Yes.
testing this format where at the end of each podcast, there'll be like a speed round of
Sure.
questions. Like, don't overthink,
Okay.
just quick response. What is your favorite book that you think like everyone should read?
For me, it's The Prince by Machiavelli. I really like that book. I think I read it when in high school, and I think everyone should at least give it a try once. Have you read it?
No, I have never heard of it, but
Yeah,
after, I'm definitely gonna check it out.
I'll share a link with you.
Perfect. Maybe
Okay.
favorite quote that keeps you going, or that something that's been memorable and had an impact on your life.
Favorite quotes. Um, Honestly, the favorite quote I have right now in my head is just, and this is maybe because I'm in tax season right now, but it's just harder than last time. I'm just trying to like approach each day better than last day and trying to finish things. So I'm in that kind of mood where I'm like just trying to things. Oh yeah, I try to approach every day like better than the last day. 1% better than last day.
Yeah, that's healthy mindset.
Mm.
And Arson, is there like one habit that you've implemented into your life that you think others would be benefiting from and should try as well?
One healthy habit. There's a lot of things I can say, but I try to every month. I try to like at the end of the month, uh, approach my old friends or old family to just stay connected. And I think a lot of people like this is a tip I was actually giving a friend the other day. Thing I see myself like keep being connected with a lot of people from my past life, from my living in China, living in Korea, and it helps me a lot because just having people in your life, it's so nice. And I think I was able to keep those people in my life because every month I made an effort to like send them a message, send them a hi, like just keep in touch because you never know like how those people will come in your life and help you out and how much their existence will be good for your life. So I think like keeping touch. I know a lot of people want me to say something like maybe healthy every day, daily, but I'm sure there's a lot of those that they can do, but keeping in contact, like putting an effort to keep in contact every week or month, it's a good habit to have to stay connected.
Yeah, very important, especially given the audience of this channel. I feel a lot of immigrants and international students will be watching. So, yeah, something to keep in mind 100%. And last
Exactly.
question, Arson, for you is you
Yes.
lived in so many different countries: Iran, Korea, Dubai, China, now Canada. Which country do you think contributed the most to your growth as an individual?
Of course, I would say Shanghai and Vancouver because, and there's no surprises because I feel like teenage years I was in Shanghai and my adult years I was in Vancouver. And I even have this emoji in my Instagram if you've seen like it's like beans where I put the countries like Iran, Korea, and China, and then like the next one is like the beans like growing to a plant,
Oh,
and I
wow.
put Vancouver. So um yeah, I think like Vancouver was the biggest contributor I would say to my life. It's made me a person who I am today.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Arson, this
There's
has
a lot
been,
of there's
yeah, please.
sorry. No, I was gonna say there's a lot of interesting people and interesting things you see here that helps. I know it's a small city. A lot of people would think like Shanghai, but honestly, there's so much, uh, so many people you see here, so many things you do, so many situations that you get, you're put through. It helps. It helps everyone to be a different person.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, Arson, this has been very interesting. A lot of the
Yeah.
things you shared, I knew already, but there were some new things I learned about you as well. Um,
Thank you.
yeah, and I feel people watching will enjoy it a lot as well, especially your journey, reinventing yourself after your injury. That I feel would resonate with a lot of people. So I'm happy we were able to sit down and have this conversation. And also, I'm starting out as well, having you as a first guest and as a person who agreed and believed in this. That means a lot, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. Thank you. It's honestly, it's an honor to be in your first one. Again, I know you've been talking about this, and I think this is perfect for you. And I can't wait to look back at this in 1 year and not only see your growth, but to see like, oh, good that good that you started, and I'm good that I quickly came and said, okay, I'll be the first guest. So hopefully, this is a good starting point.
Thank you, brother. And for those who are watching, thank you for your time. And
Thank
we'll
you.
see you inside the arena.